Hey guys, so real quick, got a good match here. We've got Vaughn Biggs, the number one seed, versus Ben DeLuca, the number two seed. Biggs is nationally ranked number five in the men's 18 and over 5.0 division. In the same division, Ben DeLuca is nationally ranked number 49. So a real treat. I was able to get Ben DeLuca to sit down with me and talk about what was going through his head during this match, his strategy. So enjoy. Okay, Mike Lemens here with Ben DeLuca. We are going to give a little run through on this match and talk about. I have Ben here to tell me a little bit about what's going on with him during this match, getting started. So Ben, what was your mindset coming into this match?
Coming into the match, I would say the main thing I was thinking about was I haven't played a ton of tournaments in the last few years, just a couple a year, and this is my first final in a while. So trying to tell myself to not think about the results too far in advance, or to think about like the match on paper and just play what I had in front of me. Vaughn and I have played once before at this same tournament last year, and it was a back and forth close match, ended in a 10-pointer. And so even before we were playing today, I knew that we were both matched up pretty well, and it would be kind of a fun tactical back and forth between the two of us. And luckily, it feels like this match lived up to the expectations we each had.
Yeah, he's got some pretty big shots, and he's young. Well, he must be 21 or 22.
Vaughn is young. I think he mentioned something about playing in school, or about to play in school, but I know I've got a number of years on him, and so I have to try to not think about whether or not people are going to be able to outrun me on the court.
Yeah, I got to say he stayed pretty fresh throughout the match. And not saying you didn't,
But he really, yeah, that was the thing I noticed, especially as he kind of, without giving too much away about the score, kind of in the second set, it felt like he really kind of used his legs and kind of kept me moving for a lot of that second set, and made it much tougher to get into return games or be as strong at the end of a service game or a return game as I was in the beginning.
So, as far as the way that you played him, I don't know if you could share that. Did you feel like there was anything you wanted to pick on or set up playing against him? Do you think his forehand or backhand was one of them was more vulnerable than the other?
I think that I'm so used to the, even if it's effective, the relatively one-dimensional approach of get more forehands, attack their backhand, and try to open up the match from there and have that be your starting point. But I know that if Vaughn and I are going back and forth, backhand to backhand, especially with the two-hander, that I think he's going to be much more comfortable stepping in and attacking in that direction than I am. And so I like my slice backhand a lot, but I also felt like it was more necessary in this match to kind of not give him as much pace and height on his backhand, because he is a lot more comfortable getting around that backhand and hitting it bigger than I am. I feel like I go for my backhand off the two-hander a lot more tactically, and it's not necessarily plan A is to try to rip that backhand.
Right. He does take some of those high backhands and really pound them.
He does, and I think he's good at that on the forehand too. But I think I trust, if we're going that direction, I trust my forehand cross court to not give him as much space to step in and to be able to kind of move him out wide or push him back. I felt like in this set in particular, I did a good job, at least as far as I remember. I did a good job of kind of pushing him back early in points, especially especially off the returns, even though I broke him in that very first game of the match. And then basically for the rest of the match, both of us were serving quite well, it felt like. But I still felt like throughout that first set, I was able to step up and attack quite a lot. That's always tough. I remember that feeling right there. At least it was on a game point, and I didn't have to recover momentum after missing that sitter of a volley right there. I just got to put it behind me fast.
Do you think, you mentioned momentum, do you think of momentum when you're playing a match?
I think there is momentum. I think that it's, I feel like you kind of have to, at least I have to not think about what my opponent is thinking regarding momentum during a match, because if I start to think about what they're feeling, I'm getting out of the moment and I'm getting a little bit too into my own head and not really feeling the point. Because I think that momentum is one of those things where it's there if you're using it productively in your head. If you're telling yourself that you're building momentum, or that you can fight here and kind of stop them and slow things down, or kind of stay more measured with the pace of the match, then it works for you. And if you're thinking about momentum feeling like you're desperate to not let it slip away, then it's going to impact you negatively. And I think I have to, partially because I can't really turn the coaching brain off, I feel like I have to come up with ways to trick myself mentally into like turning every situation into something positive for me.
Have you ever seen the book by, I think it's Chuck Creasy?
No.
He was the coach at Clemson. He wrote a book, I think it's called Coaching Tennis. Yeah, he has a whole chapter on momentum and managing it, and how, once you get it, how to try to keep it. He gets real specific based on the score. I'll talk about that sometime. But it's an interesting concept. For instance, my favorite one is you get up 40-love, and then you just play a really long point. Make the guy really, really work to get a point. Yeah. And then he works really, really hard, and now he's still down 45 or 540. Right. It's kind of disheartening for your opponent, I think. That's the kind of momentum that I think about when I play a match, and that made a difference in my game. Once I realized that, don't give away opponent points when you get ahead. Anyway, so here you are. You're up 4-3.
It was interesting. I kind of forgot that I had chances to go up a double break in that set. Because if I remember correctly, I think between the two of us there was one double fault for the whole match, and it felt like both of us kind of went back and forth having streaks of returning well, but it felt like we were both serving pretty well for the whole match and getting high percentage of first serves and not giving the other person too many easy looks.
No, I don't remember any double faults. Great points. So you guys are really working them.
Yeah, that was one where like that. I think that ball right there. Granted, I won it from an unforced error when I was already in a defensive spot, but that type of miss right there, where it's my ball's a little shallower, not giving Vaughn as much to generate pace with, and that leading to a little bit of like overhitting or missing his spots. And I feel like especially hitting, not even to the backhand, but just hitting to the ad side, I felt like his ability to use my pace and to absorb it and redirect it and increase it was definitely like an asset of his. And if I was hitting to the ad side of the court, I had to really try to give him not just less pace overall, but just more variety, so that I wasn't just giving him the ball that he wanted. Because that's what I try to think about that sometimes, of like, not necessarily what's the shot I most want to hit or what's my best option here, but more thinking about like what shot does he not like, and put him in that spot.
Right. Yeah. So now you're serving for the
Yeah.
first set.
Yeah, it was interesting. That whole first set, I feel like there were probably one or two games on my serve where I was a little bit behind or not ahead right away, but I felt like I served my way out of trouble in some spots there and didn't give him a whole lot of easy looks. He used that drop shot quite well as the match went on.
Yes, he did. That was a good one. Some real cat and mouse stuff going on here.
It's that backhand right there, the ball that I thought was going out.
Yeah.
Where I really just didn't want it to be in. And then he's
it looks like you're down.
in control. I think this was 15-40. I think Swing Vision maybe thought one of his balls was out, and I thought it was in. Because I'm pretty sure that was...
Okay. Well, now you're up
30-40.
40-30 anyway. You go for the forehand. Got the error.
Yeah, that was the scoring thing. That was 15-40, and I remember that. Like, took a lot of composure to not try to hit that volley at 30-40 and just let it go.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, you got the first set.
Yeah, and felt good on serve, but also could tell that this is where I would start to get in my head, is thinking about the fact that we were both serving well, and he probably had better chances to take the lead in that set than I did, except for the fact that I broke him in the first game of the match. And I think that started to get in my head a little bit, thinking about, like, I've got to take some more chances here, or who knows how many more looks I'll get, because I went 1 for 3 or 1 for 4 on break points, and the only one I converted was the first one that I got.
Oh.
And so there's a little bit in the head about you start to think, how many more chances will I get? And then all of a sudden you can start to get a little distracted like that. I went a little bit off with the rhythm, missing a couple of those returns, especially being up in that game.
Any time during that match you feel like you were like getting into the zone, as they say? Did you just feel like you were just with it, or were you just always, always thinking, I guess, is what I'm saying. I mean, you're thinking a little bit. You can't help it.
Yeah. I think that I felt a lot more comfortable building points behind my serve, and I imagine he probably did too. And I could tell he started to take more chances with his return in this set, for sure. I felt like I was under a lot more pressure in my service games here, even though the serve itself felt pretty good.
Kind of looks like he turned everything up a notch here.
Yeah.
A lot more energy there.
Yeah, I don't feel like he was running around those serve returns in the first set. So even if I'm winning this service game or up 40 love, I could tell that he was kind of stepping up for more, and he was trying to dictate a lot more, because I think that's where those are the ones where he got frustrated just from my position on the other side of the net. The times where he looked frustrated in this match, especially in the first 2 sets, were just when he was missing shorter balls. And if I got him on defense and he missed, it didn't look like it affected him that much. But if he got that mid-court ball and overshot it, or didn't do enough with it and let me back in the point, that looked like it was getting under his skin a little bit. And he did a really good job throughout this second set, it felt like, of really making me pay for hitting the ball a little softer, a little shorter in the court.
I almost feel like you both stepped up your game here in this second set. He seems to be definitely hitting the ball harder.
Yeah.
Are you thinking defense at all here? Are you getting defensive and saying, I just let him make an error, maybe?
Probably, and I think that's where overusing the slice backhand can get me in trouble, is if I use it on defense and I don't really look for my chances to get back in the point, then even though I remember that point, even though that was like a very good point and it ended with a couple really good shots, having to play defense for longer against Vaughn is not a winning proposition. I think if I can get him off the baseline, I have much more control over the tempo of the rallies and of the match. But Vaughn is clearly trying to step up to stuff here and really stay on top of points.
So you didn't drop shot him very much. So.
I did not. I tried. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or it's just not. It's not mentally what I think I should be doing, but I end up using it a lot less in matches. I'll bring it out in a practice set occasionally just to see if it's effective or not. But I tend to be a little bit one-dimensional, perhaps to a fault, in matches that count. Yeah, and you can tell throughout that game, shorter points and longer points, he was clearly thinking to himself, like, that he had to play first strike there.
Yeah.
And step up.
Yes, he's definitely going after it.
It's good serving. That serve out wide on the deuce side was annoying all night. All night. I felt like I could get to all of them, but they're still just tailing away from you a little bit as a righty. And with my forehand being a very kind of wristy shot, it's if I get to that ball even just a tiny bit late, then I'm lucky if I catch a couple strings. That was a nice backhand right there. I remember that shot. That off the back foot, wrong-footed winner right there. That was tough.
Yeah. It's good.
And I remember starting to feel the fatigue a little bit after he broke my serve, just from having to play more defense. Not even that the match as a whole was getting to me. It was just more and more points. Felt like I was reacting to him, and he was setting the tone, and I'm doing more side to side than he is, and I'm on my back foot more, and he's clearly starting to step up and rip his backhand a lot more often.
Oh yeah, for sure. But still, I mean, you're down 4-1, and but
I forgot about that.
You still teach here at Greenwood.
Yep.
Kind of a home court advantage a little bit.
Maybe a little.
I
certainly feel comfortable on the clay. I like to slide. I think the slice on the clay is a really useful shot because it just keeps people on their heels. It makes people get low to the ball. I think my slice backhand feels like just an objectively strong shot for me, and especially on the clay, if I can get anyone just a tiny bit late to react to the direction it's going or the height it's going to be, then that slice doesn't really let people attack.
Did you grow up on the clay?
No, I hadn't played on clay until just a few years ago. And I love it because I'll slide around on hard court, and
oh really?
I think that being on the clay, it took once you get used to the difference in the timing with your movement, your first step and your last step compared to the hard court, I think it suits the way I play, and probably lets me get a little too comfortable being a counter puncher in these points because the clay will slow things down. I can get to more balls, and then I end up settling into that kind of counter-attacking stance and philosophy that I think works for me, but also clearly from the way that these first two sets have gone and started to turn, I think I could definitely benefit from taking more points and trying to dictate first and not just reacting and trying to turn the tables on somebody.
Oh, you missed that call. That serve was out, but that's okay.
After the match, there were a few people who watched the match, and the first feedback we got besides great match was you guys both made a lot of very generous calls, which was the sort of thing which is like, hearing that retroactively, you can get maybe a little bit bummed out. You're like, oh, I missed a bunch, but also at the same time, if I'm gonna miss calls, I'd rather I'd rather miss out calls and say they're in than miss in calls and say they're out.
Yeah,
So
you
I
were
think
both.
we both played
You were both generous,
nothing but integrity in this match.
especially on serves. I was on serves. Some of those got out by a foot, and you guys were playing them. It's good. It was
I
both
remember
sides.
that shot hurt a little bit because that ball clipped the line, and I tried to reach out at the end of my slide and felt a little like twinge in the hip. And this game, I don't remember what happens this point, 15 all, but I had it in my head that was gonna linger, that little ache, that little tweak that I got in my left hip after misjudging a bounce off the baseline.
Yeah, but you're young enough. It goes away in about 5 minutes. Right? You're okay. Yeah, I like that. I like your slice backhand. That's very clean.
Keeping that wrist locked right there.
Yes.
Just trying to let it knife through the court.
Yes.
Yeah, even here, I remember after this game, even though I was starting to feel not even that tired, but just a little, I could feel how passive I was in this game and how much Vaughn was really trying to like step up and not give me room so that he could try to serve it out. I felt like once I held serve to get to 3-5, just physically and mentally, at least I felt like I was going to be able to stick it out, because I know that Vaughn is a lot younger than me, but I think I can hang with him in terms of speed, and then being able to hold that last service game of mine, even though he went and held for the set right afterwards.
Yeah. So now you
Definitely.
split sets.
Splitting sets just like the year before.
Tiebreaker. Mm-hmm.
And that was he wanted the drop shot. I think it was probably the right time to do it too, looking at my positioning in the court.
Yeah. He's crushing that backhand. Crushed it.
Yeah. And just a lot of shots, so many balls
Look at you though.
off the ad side.
Why didn't you die? Why didn't you die for that last?
I don't know. I don't know what got into me there that I didn't hustle for it, because I think I might have had a play on it.
I don't know. I'm just pulling your leg there. I'm not sure you did.
This is where it can get in your head. You get the first mini break. If you start to think too much about what happens next, if you just take care of your serve, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And then I'm there, and then it's just another little too passive of a point right there, but Vaughn certainly didn't let me get away with just kind of hanging in that one.
No.
And so he gets the mini break right back.
Ooh.
And I feel like at this point, with how he had been playing in the second set, I was surprised that I got a couple backhand errors out of him in this early in the tiebreaker. Otherwise, I think I would have tried to set up more points on the deuce side.
It looked to me like you stepped up a little bit and put a little more on that forehand than you had some of the other ones.
Yeah, I did feel like I was, at least on individual shots, I felt like I was starting to go after it a little more, serves and forehands.
4-all.
Yeah, that was a little too impatient of a shot selection from me right there. And then a bad return, already thinking about it.
You're down 6-4. It's looking pretty bad. I don't know.
And then I get a lucky first ball miss, and then I remember this point clear as day.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Well placed, and well timed, especially late in the tiebreak, feeling like there's a little bit of potential for fatigue.
Yeah. You're down 7-5.
But I remember telling myself on the changeover, not trying to be too specific with the advice I was giving myself, but just the generic, like, don't be passive. Don't play to make zero mistakes. Play to be a little more assertive. And I feel like I was able to, especially in these last couple of points, use my forehand a lot more effectively to take control of the rallies here.
Ooh,
That was a
good.
fun one right there. And then I get the mini break back finally, and that was another one of those backhand misses that probably wasn't really happening earlier in the match.
And you took the lead.
Match point, just trying to keep the ball deep and...
Oh, yeah, you got to love that primal screen, man. So here's a little slow motion. Vaughn jumping up in the air. Unbelievable. And here he is again on the forehand. He gets his body weight into that ball. Got to love it. How about this backhand? Really great at going one direction and hitting in the ball the other. Not so much that one, but a lot of the other ones for sure. Let's take a look at Ben. Great knee bend. Mr. DeLuca. Good serve. Very few double faults in this game. Really gets around that modern forehand. Nice finish way over the shoulder. Let's see another one of those forehands. Got a lot of action on that racket. And then finally we have the slice backhand, which is just picture perfect. The guy could be on a box of Cheerios right there. Or is it Wheaties? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Check down below links if you're interested in Swing Vision. And your comments are always welcome. Thanks for watching.